she kind of ripped Gladwell's face off with this one. Let's be honest. I mean, she went for the jugular here. She was not messing around. We had quite a robust discussion yesterday about Malcolm Gladwell, and we discussed that he has come out and said, and he admitted that he was too cowardly to say the truth. That's not saying that he believed it and now has learned more. New facts have come in. He just said, "Look, I was too much of a wimp about trans men competing against women in sports." And I said to you, "Well, do we give credit, Clay, or do we have to look at this as pure opportunism?" Right? J.K. Rowling, who you and I both hold in high regard, the Harry Potter author, wrote this about the situation. I want to get Clay's reaction. Gladwell's career wouldn't have been destroyed if he spoke out against the glaring unfairness, not to mention dangers, of allowing men to compete in women's sports. He'd have faced the loss of approval from the cultural elite and received activist blowback, and even that wouldn't have come with the tsunami of death and rape threats women face when they speak out. Non-famous people, mostly women, girls, and gay people, have genuinely had their careers and lives destroyed for saying what Gladwell was too pusillanimous to say, and he didn't lift a finger in their defense. She goes on and on. He hasn't changed. He merely sensed a shift in what is acceptable to say and feels safe to align himself with the new consensus, excusing his previous behavior. He isn't an ally. He's a weather vane. Clay, off the top rope.
We talked about this, I believe, with Ben Shapiro, and I think one of the most challenging things out there is, when do you give grace and when do you not? And I love J.K. Rowling because, as we said and have said for some time, she had no reason to need to do this. She is publishing royalty. She could have, after she wrote the Harry Potter books, which are fantastic. My 10-year-old is reading them now. I bet a lot of your kids and grandkids may have not been readers, and if they do become readers later in life, it's often because you get them started at an early age with the gift of learning what books can bring to their lives. And you and I were both huge readers at young ages. I would say, if I can give any advice on education at all, it's get your kids to read. I think it's going to become even more important in an AI era where having the ability to distinguish truth from fiction and real from fake is going to become maybe the most important skill set that a child can have and that a young adult can have. And I would say that exists now. Look, I lived this. And all I can tell you is I don't think the full story on the power of the left to take over advertising, marketing, and recognize it as a area that they can control and dominate all this discourse in this country.
It's a cultural and economic choke point, a huge one.
I don't think most people even still understand it. And so I live this. I told you guys, I had a multi-million-dollar advertising deal.
About beer drinking sports fans, but apparently they're about transgender guys, smashing volleyballs into girls' faces. But Clay, what do you think about this assessment from J.K. Rowling? Because she kind of ripped Gladwell's face off with this one. Let's be honest. I mean, she went for the jugular here. She was not messing around.
Well, I think it's particularly interesting because I would see them as, in many ways, contemporaries. By which I mean, I would bet J.K. Rowling is basically the best-selling fiction author of her generation.
I think she's the first author billionaire from actual works created as an author. I think she is that has that title.
And I would submit, you said Michael Lewis, but I would bet Malcolm Gladwell has sold more copies of nonfiction books than almost anybody of his generation. Certainly he's worth, I would bet, hundreds of millions of dollars because of his books. When I read this, you sent it to me this morning. I hadn't seen it yet. It actually, to me, read as she knows that he's a fraud on a personal level.
Yes. We didn't talk about this beforehand, but I think she knows stuff. Go ahead. So I don't mean to cut your thunder, but you're right.
When sometimes if you see a particular venom from people in public life, it's because, hey, I'm not going there fully about what I know about you, but I'm not going to give you grace because I know you're full of it. I've never met Malcolm Gladwell. I have no relationship with him. I have no knowledge of him on a personal level. I've enjoyed several of his books. That's my full scope. I've never met J.K. Rowling. I don't know anything about her. I find it hard to believe that the two of them, given their prominence in the writing communities, would not have crossed paths and or be in some way knowledgeable of each other's personal as well as professional lives. And so this feels to me like she knows or has felt for some time that he's a fraud, different in public than in private, because it's such a takedown. To me, it doesn't read as someone just has a different political opinion than me. It reads as this guy's a total fraud who is truly a weather vane, and you can't trust him. And she's basically coming after him for that reason. So I think it's bigger than the disagreement.
Right. So that the thing that I totally agree with here in your assessment is that she was on a panel or saw him with someone on a panel. I mean, I even saw Matt Taibbi, who was a man solidly of the left as a writer, but because he has approached things with some journalistic objectivity and honesty, he has found himself in agreement with the right more and more, a little bit like Glenn Greenwald, for example. Like I completely disagree with him on some things, Israel being one of them. But when you talk about First Amendment and free speech stuff and government transparency, he agrees with a lot of people on the right about a lot of stuff and the deep state. But Taibbi also went after Gladwell, which I thought was interesting, for basically calling Matt Taibbi a racist. So the knives are out a bit here. It was interesting to see. It's not a matter of whether you're going to have a cell phone for the rest of your life. It's a matter of which company you're going to rely on for great service. I choose to rely on Pure Talk, not AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile, but Pure Talk. Their service is on the same towers and network as the others, but at a much better price point. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Just to give you perspective, the average size family of four saves more than $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. You can even keep your phone and number. Using your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say the keywords Clay and Buck to make the switch. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250, say Clay and Buck to start saving today. Pure Talk Wireless, by Americans, for Americans.